Hey, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to another Pokemon Go video. In this video, we're going to be going over the brand new red warning message that was given out to a majority of the player base today, right as Generation 4 went live. And now, a lot of people initially thought that this was sort of like a glitch or a bug because so many legit players got hit. However, these so-called legit players aren't actually that legit. The reason why I say that is because, a lot of them actually had Pokegenie or CalciIV downloaded, which if you guys don't already know by now, it is against the terms of service to use those apps. Even though they are overlay apps, Pokemon Go, or at least Niantic, can data mine into your phone. Basically, you gave them the rights to do this with the new terms of service, and so they can actually see if you have these apps installed. And it doesn't really make a difference that they're overlay apps and that they don't take any actual data from Pokemon Go. If Niantic doesn't want you to use them, they can basically give you a suspension for it. And the thing about Niantic is that they won't actually give you a reason why when you actually get suspended. Or in this case, when you get shadow banned, which again, we're going to go into that right now. This was a really weird one because this was sort of like a last chance warning rather than an actual shadow ban, because on the actual red message it actually said it was only going to last for 1 day, which is unlike anything that we've ever seen in the past before. So this is the first time that this kind of thing has happened in Pokemon Go. If you actually reference the 3-strike policy, it says in there that it'll be 7 days if you do get shadow banned and you get this red message. And so pretty much Niantic just decided to send out this red warning message to anyone they felt that was breaking the terms of service in some sort of way. And it's definitely possible that a lot of people were false flagged who maybe just didn't have Pokegenie or CalciIV installed and, didn't have any sort of other third-party apps. This is not something that's new, guys. It's been happening over the past couple of months, and really I think the main reason why this has become such a big deal is because the majority of the player base was actually hit with this message. So a lot of people have been talking about it, a lot of people have been tagging Niantic, which ultimately pushed them to make a public statement, or I guess you could say a public tweet about this. So taking a look at Niantic's public tweet, they say, "Hey trainers, if you have previously received a warning or suspension notice, you may see a new acknowledgement screen when logging into Pokemon Go. This is a one-time acknowledgement for previous violations, and it doesn't necessarily indicate a new punishment on your account." And so pretty much what Niantic is saying is that if you've broken the terms of service before, which basically everyone has, I don't care if you say that you have it, you most likely have in some sort of way. Like, it could be the smallest thing, guys. But in this specific scenario, I think it's actually relating more to the IV checkers rather than anything else, just because so many people that were affected, they didn't really do anything else other than having Pokegenie or CalciIV installed on their phone. And something else that I also wanted to go over that supports this theory is that a few players in my local Pokemon Go community were hit with this message, and then after they deleted Pokegenie, the message actually disappeared. And so based off that, I'm pretty much going off the assumption that it was Pokegenie or even CalciIV that was causing this. It could have definitely been something else. Obviously, they're saying previous violation, so it could be anything against the terms of service, guys. And in regard to the new terms of service, there are so many different factors that it could have been, and my best bet is the IV checkers, but it really could have been anything else. It could have been account switching, it could have been multi-accounting, like I really could not tell you. And Niantic always does this too. They always give you like a very vague response. Like even if you try and email them, they'll never actually tell you the specific reason, which is like what everyone is trying to find out, because how can you prevent this if you don't even know what it is? So it's definitely a step in the wrong direction, and for whatever reason they just feel like they don't need to tell us when, we're the people that are playing this game. If we don't know what's going to get us banned, or at least they're not telling us specifically, and it's affecting a lot of legit players for the most part, you're just going to end up losing a lot of players in the long run. That's what I personally see happening. And so the next thing I want to look at right now is a response back to a player that actually commented on their post. And they say, "And what is up with the 1-day ban? I'm not cheating along with many trainers who also got that message today." And then Niantic responds, "Hi trainer, sorry for the confusion. This isn't a new or additional strike on your account, but rather a reminder to play according to the terms of service. Hope that helps." And then they go on to say, "If this is a reminder, then you may need to be more careful with your wording. This clearly doesn't seem to be wrote as a reminder, rather than a communication of a punishment. And while the notification is on, will I be able to see rare spawns? How will this affect my gameplay?" And then Niantic says, "Thanks for the feedback, trainer. This message was intended to prevent users from receiving warnings or suspensions in the future. There is no impact to the gameplay." And then another guy comes up and says, "Are you even reading the photo they posted? It's literally saying this is your first strike. get it together and give people a real answer. And I think that guy definitely speaks volumes for the way a lot of people feel in the Pokemon Go community right now that have been affected. It's sort of like, why are you just kind of being so vague about this? Just tell us what it is, we're not going to do it anymore, and let's just move on. Like, it's really that simple, but Niantic likes to play these little games with us. And so pretty much, you know, I'm just going off the assumption that it was the IV checkers that sort of caused this for most players. However, it is not just limited to the IV checkers. If we're going off, you know, the violations of the terms of service, there are so many potential things that it could have been, guys. And if you guys don't know exactly what I'm talking about, I made a terms of service video, I want to say about 2 weeks ago. It's a pretty long one, but I would definitely give it a listen just so you guys kind of know what to watch out for, because a lot of players are saying that, you know, PokeGenie and CalciIV don't violate the terms of service because they're overlay apps, and, you know, in reality, guys, that is not true. The reason why CalciIV and PokeGenie violate the terms of service is because they are third-party applications that, you know, assist you with Pokemon Go. And it's starting to become a lot more clear that Niantic does not want you to use these kind of apps. I mean, seriously, it's laid out in the terms of service, but now they're gonna give you, you know, warning messages for it too. And a common argument that I've been seeing is that, you know, people that weren't affected are saying like, hey, like, I wasn't affected, I use CalciIV, I've been using it for this many years or like this many months or whatever, and I didn't get that message. So something to keep in mind is that if you look back to when spoofers were getting banned, right, like during the spoofer ban waves, you know, not all spoofers were banned, guys. It's not like when they did a spoofer ban wave, every single spoofer was hit with that ban. And there's a reason for that. It's like their system isn't going to ban every single player they think is a spoofer. That would just lead to way too many false positives. And I'm not saying that there isn't already a lot of false positives, but I mean, look at it in the same sense, right? A lot of people who were affected did have these IV checkers on their phone. And just because, you know, every single person that had these IV checkers wasn't affected doesn't mean that, you know, these IV checkers are safe to use. They're far from it. And, you know, false flagging is 100% possible. It's been happening since the spoofer ban waves. You know, legit players have been getting hit. But the difference, though, is that they were in the minority back then. And unfortunately, if you tried to, you know, talk about it, post it on Reddit or anything like that, you would instantly get downvoted. And everyone would basically call you a spoofer or, you know, say that you were cheating or something like that. But now, since it's the majority and a lot of people are, you know, getting these suspension messages, it's like, it's kind of hard to say because they're probably the same people that were, you know, calling people cheaters and stuff, and now they're pretty much labeled as a cheater, or at least they don't want to accept it because they're like, hey, you know what, PokeGenie and CalciIV, that's not breaking the terms of service. But, you know, of course it is, guys. They're just kind of in denial. And sort of that's my own personal take on it. I don't mean to get too into my thoughts just yet, but I mean, I think that's pretty much everything in regards to the facts. You know, Niantic did make a public statement about this in regards to the terms of service. PokeGenie and CalciIV are against it, and I've already made a video going over that, so if you want a more detailed analysis, feel free to check it out. So now that we've gone over the facts, I kind of want to go ahead and give you guys my personal thoughts on this, and if you guys do not want to hear that, go ahead and click off the video right now. I completely understand. Not everyone wants to hear what I have to say, but you know, my thoughts on this is that I did see this coming from like a mile away. I mean, ever since I read the entire terms of service and I made that video, I have just been so much more careful with everything I do in regards to this game because they are really starting to crack down on everything, guys. I mean, like, literally everything. And I definitely saw IV checkers as the next thing on their list. I mean, obviously they went after scanners, they're going after spoofers, they're going after multi-accounters. I mean, the only thing left is pretty much IV checkers and, you know, other small things on the terms of service. So who knows what's next after the IV checkers, but I do have to say that IV checkers are probably something that you should try and avoid, or at least, you know, just be careful. I would recommend using Poke Assistant just because it is a much safer bet. You don't have the convenience as you would if you did use PokeGenie or CalciIV, but it is a way safer alternative, and all you have to really do is just punch in the numbers and it gives you the IV calculations. So, I mean, that's my recommendation to you. If you don't have to use it, if you don't want to, you can still go on keeping using PokeGenie and CalciIV, but you do have to acknowledge that you are going to be taking a risk. And if we look back a couple months ago, nobody was really talking about this stuff because it wasn't really happening to a lot of players. I think what it really comes down to is if it doesn't affect you directly, you're really not going to care. And I'm not going to say that nobody cared because there were a lot of people that were concerned, but I mean, honestly, guys, I really don't think a lot of people even really paid attention to this stuff, and now that they're actually getting directly affected by it, it's something to really kind of look into a little bit more. And so that's why I do recommend to, you know, go over the terms of service. If you don't want to read it yourself, I've gone over everything in a video. I'll go ahead and leave that in the description below, as as well as at the end of the video. You guys can go ahead and check that out if you are interested. And you know, for the most part, I feel like I've sort of given you guys my opinion on a lot of this stuff in the past couple of videos, so I don't really have a whole lot to say. I guess I sort of want to say like I told you so, but I don't want to be a jerk about it. But in that sense, I have been trying to warn you guys for some time now, and it's not like I've been doing this for no reason. I've been doing this because Niantic is starting to crack down on everything regarding the terms of service, and most games don't actually do this, which is why it's kind of weird that Niantic is actually doing this. And I guess just one thing I do have to say is that it is making me nervous about the future of the game. I really don't know where it's going. I mean, we should have like 3 generations of Pokemon Go content left, but with the way Niantic is handling things right now and the fact that their ego is just sort of like inflating like super high, I really do not know what the future of this game holds. I mean, it's so hard to say, guys. And I do actually have a couple other discussion topics that I would like to go over in future videos. Non-terms of service related, just more about the state of the game and sort of, you know, the Gen 4 release and stuff like that. I know I've gone over a lot of this terms of service stuff, and really, I wasn't even going to make this video today, but then the red warning message happened, and a lot of people were just spreading around misinformation, and so I just kind of decided, hey, you know what, like, I know this space really, really well. I feel like I should just cover it for you guys because I think it's something that a lot of people were affected by, and therefore it's important to know the reasons why it happened. Or at least, you know, whether or not you choose to believe them or not. I'm just giving you guys the info, the straight facts. What you want to do after that, it's completely up to you. You know, you just got to acknowledge that you are taking a risk when you are using these apps, and that's really all there is to it. Aside from that, though, in other news, my midterms have been killing me this week. This week and next week are my midterms, and you know, these past 2 days have been very, very rough. This next week is going to be very rough as well because I have to do so much studying, guys. I have my accounting midterm coming up, which is like incredibly important, so I really won't be able to put out too much content. I will try and get at least maybe 2 videos out this week, maybe 3. I'll do my best, but it just sort of depends. On top of that, Road back to level 40 free-to-play. That series is coming soon. I'm very excited about that. I do need to actually make a video going over the fact that I did hit level 38 free-to-play, and as well as just kind of going over my plans and preparation for getting back to 40, which is going to happen very, very soon. I don't know if you guys have been following me on Twitter, but yeah, level 40 free-to-play, it's happening again. Very, very soon. And I already mentioned that I do want to upload more discussion-based videos. I've actually been having a great time communicating with you guys in the comment section down below. The last few videos have just been great as far as interaction goes. I mean, honestly, the one thing I want out of YouTube the most is probably just, you know, communicating with all of you guys. Like, I just like having a conversation. I think that's something that I really do enjoy. I'm not super big on, you know, subscribers or anything like that. Like, I definitely do appreciate the milestones. I'm not going to deny that, but it's not like I'm trying to get to 100K or like I need to get to this like certain number. I really just enjoy having a conversation with you guys and just having a discussion. I think that's the one thing that I do look forward to. But with that being said, I actually do want to ask you guys a question. As far as gameplay goes, what do you want to see? Like, do you want to see raid challenges? Do you want me to go over like some recaps and stuff of like my shiny collection? Because it's not like I can record everything all the time. And so I do kind of want to go over this stuff, but only if you guys are interested, because I only have so much time to make content, and I really don't want to make anything that you guys are not going to be like super interested in. So, you know, let me know in the comment section what kind of gameplay do you want to see. I'm obviously very limited on what I can post given Niantic's terms of service, but I'll do my best, guys. I'll do my best to try and get you guys out some quality content. But with that being said, guys, I think that's actually going to do it for this video. You know, something I want to leave off with, as I always do in every single one of these terms of service related videos, is that whatever you choose to do, you know, whether that be IV checking, multi-accounting, whatever it is against the terms of service that you are doing, you just kind of have to acknowledge that you can get suspended for it, and you know, I think the biggest thing is that people will say that you cannot get banned for it when that's not actually the case. So, you know, whatever you choose to do, you're free to do it. I'm not telling you not to. Just you have to realize that you are going to be taking a risk, and you know, don't be surprised if you actually get suspended one of these days, because it is definitely possible. And so with that being said, if you guys did find this video helpful and informative, feel free to hit that like button down below. As always, I really appreciate it. And if you'd like to see more Pokemon Go content, make sure to hit that subscribe button for future videos. And I will see you all real soon in the next one.